right. Hello, everyone. Hi, guys. Hi, to whoever has made it in time. Today, that this is really exciting. We've never had somebody from this space of procurement join us, so it's a really exciting conversation for us. But we have with us Eliazar Gonzalez. He's currently the supply chain project procurement leader for Johnson's Electric. Eliazar has been in this position for the last four and a half, almost 5 years, I believe.
Almost 5 years, correct.
Almost 5 years, amazing. And before this, you've been with Chromalox and Sony Electronics. You've also been a professor. You've lived across, multiple parts. Like I'm really interested in the space of Mexico, and so you're coming from a geography that we don't have too many people from, and you're coming from a space of procurement that we don't have too many people come from. So this is just supremely exciting. So thank you so much for being a part.
No, it's a pleasure for me to share my experience.
Amazing. So you know what, to begin with, I always do a bad shabby job of introducing people. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself and then we'll start.
Okay, thank you. Well, my name is Eliazar Gonzalez. I am something between U.S. American citizen and Mexican citizen, so I have both nationalities. So I have dealt with different cultures at the same time. I'm married. I have 2 kids. I have 1 dog, 1 cat, and I have been in supply chain since let's say since 2002. So it's been a journey for me in this area of supply chain and procurement.
Awesome. So you know what, maybe I'm just going to get into the questions. So let's like begin with, we've already talked about our cats. So we've broken the ice on that bit. I don't have kids, so I don't know how to break ice on that with you on, but I teach kids on the spectrum of autism, and many times when I'm teaching with kids, so I spend like most of my day teaching kids on the spectrum of autism, and many times when I'm done working, I'm just like, I never want my own kids. So salute to you for having your own.
My both kids, they have been diagnosed with autism.
They?
Yeah. They have 13 and 11.
Oh, that is so interesting, Eliazar, because like I studied autism back in 2009, and ever since then, what I've seen is many of the kids that I've worked with have just blossomed into a lot of intelligence and genius and art and all of that. So good luck. I am so excited that we found another commonality. That's amazing.
Yes. Definitely is something that as many fathers we have not expected. It is there, but definitely for sure it's getting the best of my wife and from myself.
I'm sure. I hope you get like really good teachers who just do excellent work with them, because they could have an excellent future, electrically excellent future ahead of them. So anyway, let's get back on topic before Rajiv says, what am I talking about? So tell me, Eliazar, what's been your journey in the space of procurement thus far?
Oh, I was thinking about that question like 10 times. How can I answer that? And for sure, I would say it's something like a musical journey. Why musical journey? Because music is about harmony. And when you are in harmony, it doesn't mean that everything must be perfect or everything must be at the same, let's say, rhythm. Everything is different. But because it's different, you need to understand the whole team to understand very well the procurement activities. Why? Because you are kind of a director. I mean, at some point you are responsible to bring the goods for production, for service, or for whatever. But if you want to go, let's say, you want to reach higher, you need to manage a whole change to bring those products or services. So definitely you need to develop or you need to strengthen your skills in the procurement activities. because yes, you are a negotiator. Yes, you need to be a lawyer. Yes, you need to be an engineer. Yes, you need to be a many things that you cannot imagine if you are starting your career in this area. So for me, it has been like, like mountains and valleys. Sometimes you're on the top, and sometimes you're in a deep valley. But if you don't lose the whole picture, you're in a good direction. That I would say that's my journey so far. So and of course you're always learning, always learning, always learning. If you only focus to be a, let's say, a clerk, hey, I just am a buyer, you will stay there. But if you're looking for more, you need to take you need to have some ownership of your future. That
Yeah.
would be my advice.
Yeah, I love that. I think life is music, right? Like math and music is how science and life is formed. So that is amazing. But tell me, Eliazar, what to begin with got you in the space of procurement?
Uh, I mean, it was very lucky. I was very lucky because I was not, when I graduated from professional and when I graduated from my master's, I didn't want to be in procurement. I mean, in fact, when someone mentioned, what do you think about procurement? I didn't know what procurement was, to be honest. But then suddenly I was in the supply chain and finance activities. And I just love, and I felt that fit perfectly in the supply chain activities because you try to manage many things. So I'm going to tell you something that I just discovered a couple of months ago. I had been diagnosed with ADHD. So now I understand that my brain is running like a mouse everywhere. So I can take this, I can take that, I can deal with stress, I can deal with the negotiation, I can deal with so many things at the same time. So I'm able to work perfectly in this type of environment. Probably you know the environment of supply chain or even procurement. It's like a crazy pace. But that is something that I enjoy and I manage, or I have the skills to manage this type of activities. So I will answer it in that way.
Yeah, I know. So sometimes like I think the mind required for a business like the one you're in, you're probably like rightly suited because somebody who's like fast paced, can think fast, mind is racing fast, is probably very helpful for the business. So that's amazing. So Eliazar, tell me, how has your learning differed from company to company, right? Like I saw that you've been a professor, then you were briefly, and then you were with Sony, and then you were with Chromalox, and now you're with Johnson's. What are the different things that you learned from various companies, and also what made you switch from company to company?
Yeah, for when I was a professor, that's the type of work that I will do for free because the young ones, they are eager to learn. They are eager to teach you the new tools of technology. They are coming from several parts of the country or sometimes several parts of the world, and they share with you the experience. So it's an exchange of learning. That's something that I love. Then I moved to my hometown, which is in the border of Mexico. Sony say, okay, you want to participate with us? And Sony Electronics is a great company. It's a Japanese company. At that time, I would say that electronics and commodities, there was no issues at all as we have now. So what I have learned from Sony, it's the values, the the respect for your team, the respect for the suppliers, the respect for almost every stakeholder in the company and the suppliers. So it was very interesting because at that time Apple came to the industry. So the iPhone or the iPod or the iPad almost disappeared everything from the electronics. Cameras, we have an iPhone. Music, we have an iPhone. To record a video, we have an iPhone. We have an iPhone for everything. And Sony was very shocked at that moment. So I was witness of the disappear of several industries, including the manufacturers of CDs and DVDs, because of the new technology of the iPod. Then I moved to Chromalox, which is a more electric company, more focused, in which the environment is kind of a workshop. In Sony, it was let's make for the inventory. Let's have the inventory moving. In Chromalox is let's receive orders and customize our products based on the needs of the customers. So the pace was different. Also, I remember that, okay, guys, for capacitors, electronic components, we're having now 4 weeks of lead time. Oh, why 4 weeks? Now we have 2 previously. No, now we have 4. Then 8 weeks, then 12 weeks, then 26 weeks of lead time. I moved to Johnson Electric, and now we were facing 52 weeks of lead time for electronic components. And now we are facing like 60 or 80 weeks of lead time for electronic components. So that's definitely a new challenge. But we are surviving. We are industry. And at the end of the day, we need to provide the service that we are promising to our customers. So definitely the learning from the last, let's say, couple of years after COVID, we have faced all the crises that we can imagine from the previous 20 or 30 years in 2 years. So now you have a challenge from customs, from logistics, transportation, from commodities, from sourcing, for everything. So it's very interesting.
That's amazing. That's just like a really rich experience you've had. I have 2 follow-up questions. One is how I see, I read so much about ADHD in the workplace, and I'm almost wondering, is it symptomatic of the industry that we're in, right? Like something like procurement, managing the supply chain of something that is as viral as the electric industry. I almost wonder if ADHD is almost something that you inherit with this industry because of the number of, tasks that you have to constantly manage, the competition that you have to beat. So part A is, how do you manage all this with your ADHD, and like how did you even come to the diagnosis of your ADHD and all of that? So that's part 1. Part 2 is, and do you have other like colleagues who also like experience certain stuff and burnouts and all of that? My second question for you is, how do electric companies manage the competition? I mean, like how do you compete with all Panasonic and Apple, and everything is constantly popping up new and new things? How do you cope up? How do you do it?
Okay. For the first question, my wife, she was the one that realized, hey, based on your history and your behavior, it fits perfectly on the ADHD. So say, okay, I'll say, oh yes, that's the reason why. And suddenly everything fits. But something interesting that my director of Sony Electronics, one Japanese guy, he was the director. I don't know where is he now, but he has a PhD degree on mathematics, and he was working in supply chain. So it's just a matter of how you focus your strengths in the benefit of the company. And in this case, it was supply chain. At the end of the day, supply chain, it has a very strong mathematical, let's say, behavior. I mean, you need to know the patterns. You need to know about forecasting. You need to know about supply and demand. You need to know about the prices and commodities in the global market. So you had an open mind and you are willing to learn from that, you are going to hit your career. So that's for sure. But of course, you have also weakness, and those weakness you need to be very aware that they are there. They are going to be always there, and how you are going to manage them in order to avoid conflicts for the supply chain. That I don't know if that answered your first question.
Oh, it does.
The second question is something very interesting. As this company, we are using the electric and electronic components. I mean, we are the customers of big companies for electronic components. But here is something very very strange. The automotive industry is very demanding for suppliers. Everybody knows that. So at some point, the automotive industry was pushing very hard the manufacturers of electronic components. And then, if you fail them, you can have penalties in a very, very expensive way. So after COVID, they say, okay, guys, we are going to stop your supply to my industries because we are lacking of tires, steel, transportation, whatever. So the electronic components industry, they start looking for other options to push all its components. And now we have appliance with many of buttons, LED buttons, lights, everything now has some kind of electronic components. And say, oh, we have a new market, and it's very appeal. It's very profitable. Then at the same time, the automotive industry say, hey guys, we need your components now. Say, okay, now we have another market, and we cannot share, let's say, the components into two industries. So first this, then the other. That's the reason why we have a crisis, or that's some of the reasons that we have the crisis in the electronics industry at this very moment. It's because the market has grown up in an incredible way. We have more demand.
Yeah, I know. I fully hear you. I don't know how you deal with it. Tell me, how's China still doing? Like what are trade relations between Mexico and China?
Oh, let's say that, China is the supplier of the world for almost everything. But it happens that Mexico has a very good geographical position for the American market, the biggest market in the world. So if China is sourcing the raw material and Mexico is manufacturing the finished good in order to be addressed to the biggest market, that's the advantage of Mexico. And that's the relationship between China and Mexico. We are adding that type of value in this geographic location. I mean, you have companies manufacturing in Mexico from just 5 kilometers to the border of the USA. So it's a very competitive geographic location.
Yeah, amazing. Amazing. Yeah, I don't know how you figure out the logistics of it, but maybe we learn more as we go on. So I think the one big challenge must also be managing your team in such a fast-paced environment. What are some of the big challenges that you face in team management, and how have your challenges become better over the last, 10 years of doing so?
The biggest challenge is to manage myself. That's the biggest challenge. I mean, I can change. I'm willing to change. And it's totally on me. If I want to change my buyer's team, or if I want to change the finance guy, I'm not going to change them. I can understand how they work. I can understand how can I adapt my leadership skills to manage those people. I know this guy likes to be straight to the point. I need to learn that how can I go directly and precisely with this person. The other person likes to be, hey, let's chat, let's have a discussion first. How have you been? How was your weekend? Okay, so on. Okay, can you do me a favor? Because this person likes to talk or to be requested in a favor. So I am adapting those type of skills. So but based on that, okay, now I have assessed the whole team. Hey, this type of personality is this, or this person likes to have everything on email. Okay, let's put it that way, and so on and so on. So that's how I have learned to manage the entire team, or the cross-functional team, let's say, because probably, as you know, I have interaction with the finance guys, I have interaction with the production guys, I have interaction with sales team, and so on and so on. So, but I need to understand that every person is different. I need to understand that I must be adapting on daily basis on every situation. Because if I want, hey, this is my way to manage the things, most probably I'm going to crash just like that. That's my experience.
Yeah, no, I get it. Tell me, what are some things that you keep in mind while, are you a part of hiring your teams also?
I'm a part of what?
The hiring committee, the people who, like, do you hire people for your team?
Not recently, but in the past, yes.
Okay.
I have been managing like 12 to 15 persons at the same time. So yes,
Okay.
and for me, the most important thing is the attitude.
Yeah.
Attitude is everything, because
Yeah.
the skills, the knowledge, you can acquire. You can acquire. The person itself, the values of the person, what is motivating this the young ones, what is motivating the old ones, what are you trying to achieve as a person and as a professional, is telling me more than the curriculum itself. Yeah. So
Tell me how. So why I'm asking you so much about your teams is because like when I was reading up about you, a lot of your gravitas and confidence and all of that comes from, like, driving team to strategy and, being able to generate new ideas with the team and drive team growth. And I think great companies are made out of great teams. Great bosses and great managers are built because of great teams, unlike the contrary that we sometimes think. So what are some of your key learnings from, like from who should be hired on a procurement team? Because a lot of people here and a lot of people who will listen to our webinar are people who either manage teams or are looking for procurement jobs or the next switch, or are unsure if that's the space they want to be in. But what do you think are the core qualities that someone who's in the space of procurement as a team member should have?
Eager to grow up. I want more. I want to be a junior buyer. Okay, how do you look? How do you look yourself in the future? I want to be senior buyer. Okay, but what do you want to do? I want to learn. I want to grow up. I want to be interactive. I want to have international relationships. I want you need to see that eager in your team. Now, something very let's say key to me in the past few years is I don't need someone like me. I need someone even stronger than me. I need someone more smarter than me. I need someone that can uh, fulfill my lack of skills, because I don't want to be the super boss. I don't want to be an Einstein in my position. I want to gather a team. Hey, you have these skills, but no one else in my team has those type of skills. He or she, it's very, let's say, how can I explain? He's very knowledge in that field. I have another part of the team that is with other skills that complement me, that makes me, let's say, stronger as a manager. I don't know if you see my point. I'm not looking
You almost
someone.
want people who are more driven than you to be part of your team so that their push can help you push the work of the team.
Yeah, exactly. And something also that I have learned from one of my previous boss is at the moment of the interview, um, throw me questions. Because if you are giving me good questions, it means that your brain is working in a very good shape. Let's put it that way. So don't come with, oh, what's the type of industry, or uh, you know, what is the basic functions? No, no, no. What are the goals for the future 5 years in this company? What is the future on me if I want to be working in this type of company? Or how do you deal with your daily activities to achieve the goals of your company? I said, oh gosh, this guy is very smart. So those are the two things I'm looking forward always.
Love that. Those are fabulous. And I manage really big complex teams, and I fully hear that. You're only as good as your team. So I fully hear that. So I'm gonna get into an exciting part of this conversation, which Procurement League and Buying Simplified people talk about a lot. But how, with such a busy schedule, with two kids on the spectrum of autism, with you having ADHD, with a dog and a cat and all of that, what is your daily schedule? How do you preserve your mental health through all of this?
That's a good question.
And emotional and intellectual health.
Yeah. Definitely be kind with yourself. That's the first thing and the most important advice that I would like to give you. Be kind with yourself. Don't be so tough with you. I know that probably you are aiming for more. You want to be more competitive. Uh, and guess what? You are going to fail. You, the road is full of fails. Don't be so bad with you. That would be my advice. Now talking about schedule, um, I was mentioned usually I wake up at 5 a.m. of the morning because I want to have time with my wife in the morning for the breakfast, for the coffee, for, hey, what we're going to do this day. Oh, I'm going to take the kids. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Hey, I have some worry about this. Hey, I'm excited about that. Hey, I'm going to have a, a, a discussion or a review today in the morning. So those are the very most important things for me to touch base with your family and to touch base with your wife. And okay, now you work here in your company. Please try to disconnect. Try. I mean, you cannot disconnect. That's something because uh, you are a father, you are a husband, you are a son, you are a worker, you are everything. So that's the reason why I mentioned at the very beginning, it's like a musical journey, because the harmony of everything is what makes beautiful the life for me. So I make space for the most important things. Something that I realize is I work a lot like a good engineer, I must say, with a block, with a yellow block, where I put the most important things to achieve during the week. So I always have a remind that I need to do this, I need to do that, and if something is filling with 2 pages, something is wrong, definitely. And also, I have a block, a note where I put everything, I write everything in order to be avoid to be uh, always there. The personal, the professionals, the all the things. So that is helping me to deal with many things at the same time. But at the end of the day, you are going to sleep with your kids. You are going to have the dinner with your family, and for me, those are the most values that I want to have, and I want to keep them. And that is something that is motivating me every day to be better in my position, to look for more responsibilities, to look for more money. Why not? To look for grow up, for in order to provide my family. So that would say that's my schedule, my routine. But always keep in mind that the most important things are within you, not external.
I love that. That's such a um, evolved perspective in our busy lives. I think the last thing these days people do is be kind to themselves. We're kind to our work. We're kind to our outcomes. We're kind to our teams. We're kind to everything that makes our world work, but to ourselves. So that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, and I think that's a really good reminder for everyone. I love that. Do you feel like your kids inherit that from you?
Uh, since, I mean, at the end of the day, we were thinking and overthinking and reviewing and doctors and therapies and things like that. Say, hey, wait a second, wait a second. The diagnosis is there. Something is not, let's say, normal. Let's stop fighting with that. So if it's coming the from my wife, if it's coming from me, if it's coming because of the vaccines, if it's coming because of some chicken that they have ate 10 years ago, I don't know. And at this point, I'm not interested why. I'm more interested in how we are going to give them the tools to be happy, not to be productive. I mean, at the end of the day, they need to be productive. They need to know how to make money, of course, because money is the name of the game. Sad or true or whatever, but that's something that we cannot deny. But my wife and myself, we are trying to give them the tools to be happy. They have, the flappy hands, you know, I cannot stop them. It's what it is. Uh, the it was shaming. Yes, it was shaming at the very beginning, but I cannot tie their hands, you know, or I cannot stop how obsessive they are with something in special for my, as for example, my my youngest one is very obsessive with Godzilla, you know, the monster. Uh, okay, you want to be Godzilla fan? Here's a Godzilla. Here's the movie of Godzilla. Here is what everything you need to know from Godzilla. The oldest one, hey, you are very obsessive with opera at this moment. Okay, all do you think for opera is there? So you want to be interested in arts? Let's put some arts class. You are not interested in mathematics? Okay, you need to know at least the basic of mathematics. But I am not looking for that you be an Einstein in mathematics. Yeah. So we are focused on their strengths, not in their weakness.
Yeah, no, I fully hear you. As a teacher for kids on the spectrum, I fully understand this and I respect what you do so much. So thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna get into like my favorite part of every conversation, and this is like we're heading towards the end of it. But Eliza, I personally see procurement in everything in the world, right? Like, I mean, because I work with different kinds of children on the spectrum of autism, many of them are excellent artists, many of them are excellent writers, some have just an eye for photography and just all of these other things. And I have a lot of friends who are in the film world, singing world, art world in Bombay. I live in India in Bombay. And I just see how they spot talent, how they catch good music, how they catch, who could be like the next Alia Bhatt of India. I just keep seeing how they're always procuring talent. So there's like a supply chain roaming around there also. So it's interesting because I've only been in this role for the last 4 or 5 months, but only when I got into this role did I realize that our whole world actually works around procurement. Everything is a supply chain, everything is procurement. Even the wife that you've married is like out of 100 women, you chose this woman to marry. So it's like out of this whole supply chain of women you chose. I hate to make it sound so shabby and shallow, but you chose to love her because of all of this, right? So what I'm curious about is what are your thoughts on procurement in overall in the world? How do you understand procurement? And where are some unexplored, because your mind works in so many directions. I'm curious, what are some unexplored territories of procurement that we may not have thought of until now?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. I mean, the best thing that you can do is, hey, I'm always a learner. If you are opening your mind that you don't know almost nothing, you will adapt, you will learn. You're humble in your position to say, most probably a housewife, how she knows more than procurement than myself, because a housewife has some constraints, some restrictions, some whatever that you want to name it. If I'm willing to learn from that, I believe, I honestly believe that I'm in a good position to learn in a more humble way. Because if you want to learn in the hard way, be my guest. I have been in that path. And believe me, it's not a good, there's no flowers in the road. So yes, that would be my advice. Now, uh, for the future of procurement, if I want to go to the extreme, I was reading an article that I can share in the platform about robotics in procurement. It's like a That's amazing. But something in the middle that we have already here is um, artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence for making decisions, it's here. So, for example, how much time we spend by fixing invoices between purchasing, suppliers, and finance? That's a tricky question, because if we have a good systems, if we have some that is helping us to make better decisions than us, welcome. Not so many years ago, no more than 20 or 30 years ago, ERPs were here. So, so we are going to disappear Excel spreadsheets? Almost. We're almost there. But the basics, you can learn the basics in an Excel file, for sure. So that's how procurement looks for me in the future. Between artificial intelligence, between robotics, it looks like we need to be prepared. Nevertheless, I think that the foundations and the very basics of procurement, we must have them always present. Always present.
Yeah, and I keep thinking that's excellent, and I love that, because I just keep thinking how much humans will need to keep asserting themselves, because artificial intelligence and robotics is just booming more and more and more, which means for humans to remain relevant, we will just have to keep asserting and pushing ourselves to keep up or to overpower technology to some extent, right? It's a wild world out there.
As for example, the algorithms of Amazon, of Alibaba or AliExpress or whatever, it's incredible. They are providing you the goods to start the procurement activities based on your profile, based on, I would say, your physical needs, based on many inputs that only can be solved through artificial intelligence. That's for sure. So it's there. Now, if we want to see that, we just click the button and then we go, that order, it goes directly to the inventory, and you have robotics picking up your order and making the shipment and putting the package into a UPS, DHL, or whatever. We are not so far.
It's crazy. Yeah, you're right. Like, they have all of our information. In fact, like, the moment I get paid any amount of money from anywhere, suddenly all kinds of discount offers, which I would traditionally click on, start to pop up in my email. And I like, earlier I would just be like, oh, I've just got paid, I can totally take this, like, weekend, 2 days, get one free and all of that. But now I've got smarter, and I'm just like, do I really need this, or am I just like getting carried away with the flow of artificial intelligence and all of these big machines, telecom companies storing my information? It's exhausting. I fully hear you.
Yes, when you acquire a good or a finished good, if you start thinking what is behind, my gosh.
Yeah, I know. iPhone 14 for the win. All my friends are like dumping their old phones and going for the iPhone 14 now. You know this industry, it's toxic sometimes. But anyway, I'm gonna pause. Anybody has any questions before we start to get to the close of our call?
Yeah, I was a query question, you can say. Like you have mentioned that the future skill that for the procurement, or I think for any skill set, AI and machine learning will change how we work. So, in the immediate future, what do you see in your relevant category, that is electrical or projects? So what skill you think in the next 6 months or 1 year you feel that is going to be there, and you think it will help the experts maneuver the category?
Well, the media start reading, start working start interacting in this type of forums, because as I mentioned, you are not going to stop learning in this area for sure, but try go with the basics of procurement, as the Harvard Business Review, those with the project management institute, things like that. They are on the edge of the trends. So try to catch those news. Try to catch what is running in the field, because when you are working in your, let's say, your area, you have some kind of uh, blindness, because you are very focused on special activities. But if you are trying to acquire what's new, what is the new knowledge, what is the new trend, especially in LinkedIn, when everyone share their experience, I will provide to you that advice, my friend.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. No, thanks to you.
And it-
I always throw questions. Always throw questions. A question it's like a rabbit hole. You will never know what you are going to get. But that will reach your knowledge for sure. Always throw questions. Always. That's my recommendation.
Just a last small query from my side, very specific. It, um, as per your experience, what do you think the uh, scenario of the logistics will be in the near future? Like post-COVID, it have been a bumpy ride. Like rates first go up, then they were down, then again going up. So it's like a bumpy ride. Where do you see
Yeah.
it in the next coming year?
No, I don't think that it's going to change, to be honest, because more variables are coming. As for example, the Ukraine and Russia situation that is going to struggle the supply in Europe for sure. And then you will need, or we will need to fulfill that demands. So, climate change is also a variable that we need to take into account, and it's hitting us in a more frequent way. As for example, let's say you have a typhoon, or you have an hurricane, or something like that, that is disrupting your supply chain activity. So now we have economical situations. We have emerging countries. We have new laws for the sake of environment, for the sake of security, for the sake of security of kids, or whatever. So it's getting more complex. It's not getting more easy. That's for sure, my friend. So it's not getting better.
Can I ask two quick follow-up questions? One, who are your competitors at Johnson Electric? Like what kind of end products are you guys like making? How are you expanding, and who are your big competitors?
Sadly, I cannot provide that answer because of the confidence of the information. But what we do, what we do in Johnson Electric is micro motors for the automotive industry, and mostly, for example, and the moment that you start to ignite your wipers, the motor is from Johnson Electric. If you want to up your window, the motor or the actuator, that's something that we do also. If you want to cool your radiator, we have the motor and we have the fan in Johnson Electric. Also, as for example, in the medicine area, we have also some devices that provide or start the engine of the motor. So mostly every actuator or every micro motor we can design, it's implemented to improve the quality of the life of our customers. That's our mission.
Got it. And tell me, so I read up about that. So I was curious, like I was comparing what you guys provide to many other people who do similar stuff. And I was wondering, how do you retain customers and clients? Because it's such a competitive industry. What do you have to do? What does Johnson Electric have to do to retain customers, retain clients?
Well, as part of our mission is to improve the quality of life. So based on that, we provide solutions. It's very important, something that how, as an industry and as a person, how did you are going to be different from the other ones. And definitely the service that you provide, it's something that is going to make you unique. As for example, in Johnson Electric, if we are detecting some need from our customers, we go there. And we have a bunch of engineers. We have people with PhD degrees develop and design those devices. So it's a very intellectual company to provide the solution that you are looking for. So, and of course, when you are in the automotive industry, you need to be very close with your customer in order to have everything on time, to have the quality that you are looking for, to develop the features that your product needs. So that's how Johnson works and looks forward always to meet the needs of our customers.
Yeah, it's a hard business. It must be really hard. All right, I'm going to close my set of questions. Any last closing thoughts from you, Eliazar, and from anyone else here?
No, first the question or thoughts that from the rest of the audience. Nope. Okay. Well, as a final thought, I would say I'm very, very, very happy, very, very delightful about this experience, to share my experience with you guys. It's something, if I can help everybody, I always willing to help somebody. You have my contact. You can share my information, and I will be more than happy to start conversation, to answer questions, to share experience about any topic that is requested, from the supply chain activity, from procurement, from my personal experience with autism, now with the ADHD, or whatever is needed.
Thank you. We are so grateful for you that, out of your, I can't even imagine how busy your workstation must be with all those notebooks and scribbles everywhere. So thank you so much for taking out the last hour to chat with us and to just share like some really great pearls of wisdom, which sometimes we don't get to hear a lot. We hear a lot of strategy and procurement and all of that, but you just shared some deep wisdom with us, I think, which is something which we all needed this Thursday evening for many of us. So thank you so much.
Sorry for the interruption. Before I forgot, I want to share something that has changed my life in my daily activities from a professional perspective. You are making something very important that is going to change the life of your final customer. Always take that into account. Always. I say, hey, how my procurement activities can change the life of someone else. Well, it happens that I procure and I review the raw material and the components for a family that in the future is going to buy a new car. And that's probably the illusion of entire generations. You don't even know how you are going to impact in the future. So when you see a family, when you go to that a dealership that is acquiring a new SUV, a new car, something new that is the illusion of the entire family. Hey, you are part of that. You have a huge impact in your society. Always take that.